Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes, and welcome to yet another review video. Oh yes, a third time, almost in a row, me talking about modern comics. Something is wrong. Something has gone topsy-turvy. Well, never mind. I want to talk about Dark Knight's Death Metal because it is really one of the very few contemporary comics that I read at the moment. One of the three, basically. I read the main Batman title, right now written by James Tynion IV. I read the miniseries The Three Jokers by Jeff Johns and drawn by Jason Fabok. And I read Death Metal or Dark Knight's Death Metal, written by Scott Snyder and illustrated by Greg Capullo, as well as the mini one-shots that belong to the particular miniseries itself. Now, well, what do I say about Scott Snyder's Death Metal, other than, first, Scott Snyder reads better when collected. I am one of the people who, thankfully, thank all the gods, can understand his writing. He's very similar to, and you can tell that Grant Morrison is Scott Snyder a huge influence, because you need to turn on your brain, turn on your little, brain cells, and do delve into it and think about the writing, because the writing of both Grant Morrison and Scott Snyder tends to be quite complex, and they tend to go into depth, and they think of very crazy things that are revolved around their cosmic stories, right? And this very same thing applies to Dark Knight's Death Metal, which is a sort of a sequel to Dark Knight's Metal that came out a couple of years ago. Now, ideally, if you want to enjoy the Dark Knight's Death Metal fully, you should read both Dark Knight's Metal, obviously, and then Scott Snyder's ongoing Justice League series, and maybe some other titles. Now, I have to admit that I haven't read the ongoing Justice League by Scott Snyder. Nevertheless, I have read on it the synopsis and a detailed synopsis, and I have to say that it is sufficient. You don't have to read the entire, I don't know how many issues there were, but you don't have to read the Justice League. It's enough for you to just catch up by doing a little bit of internet research. Now, I'm going to sum up the story so far very simply, because it's very complex already. Of the 3 issues that came out of the main series, and of the 2 one-shots that are just sort of fills in the main series. Now, as I said, there were 3 issues already that came out of the Dark Knight's Death Metal, and 2 one-shots that are dealing with the different Dark Batman from the Dark Multiverse. So, from the Dark Knight's Metal, the previous event, written by Scott Snyder and drawn by Greg Capullo, we know that the source wall has been broken, and that the existing Dark Multiverse, that is some sort of a dark mirror image of the main DC Multiverse, is now connected with the main DC Multiverse, which means that the negative Dark Multiverse, Batman, can now enter the main multiverse of the contemporary mainstream superheroes freely. So the Dark Multiverse is basically, as I said, a mirror image of the DC multiverse, but everything is wrong there. Everything's bad. Everything ends up badly, because it's the alternative multiverse that is spawned by each and every bad dream that Batman has. So they are alternative realities in which things happen that are revolving around Batman's bad choices. So what if he made this choice and that would turn up badly? For instance, what if he killed the Joker? So in this story, the Joker's final joke, really final weapon, was that he had in his body implanted this sort of gas that if you killed him, the gas would just, be released, and that gas would transform that who killed the Joker into a new Joker. So in that particular dark multiverse or dark universe, Batman became the Joker, and he became basically the worst version of Bruce Wayne, and the Batman and the Joker, because he is Batman and Joker combined. So he's got the madness and the viciousness of Joker, but at the same time the genius mind and body of Bruce Wayne. So he becomes the Batman who laughs, who has become probably the most popular newly created character of the contemporary comic books. Now, as I said, Dark Knight's Metal ended with a huge battle when the evil Batman from the Dark Multiverse, with their chieftain, with their lord, the Batman who laughs, they were seemingly defeated, and the source wall that separated the universe from the dark, or multiverse from the dark multiverse, that was shattered, and so the Batman can now enter the regular multiverse freely, as I said. Now, that was all a lie, apparently, and there is a goddess now called Perpetua, an extraordinarily powerful entity, being, sorry, that wants to take over the multiverse and transform it into her own image and rule it. So she's basically a dark lady, like the many Dark Lords from, say, a lot of fantasy stories, like Sauron from the Lord of the Rings, right? So she is this evil goddess, Perpetua, who wants to rule the multiverse, transform it into her own image, and the Batman who laughs, the evil Batman slash Joker, is her, one of her chieftains, right? One of her captains, and he helps her with that. So we get to know that there was a huge battle with Perpetua, which the good characters, the heroes, the Justice League of America, and so on, from the DC multiverse lost. So the Earth was lost to Perpetua. The heroes were either killed or they were imprisoned, and the villains were imprisoned as well under the ground, and where they are guarded by Wonder Woman, because not only the heroes were either killed or they were imprisoned, but they were subdued, so they serve the goddess Perpetua against their own will. And she uses the Batman who laughs to rule over the Earth, or Prime Earth, or Earth Prime, the contemporary, as I said, mainstream DC universe or multiverse Earth. So we've also got a map of this new transformed Prime Earth, because Perpetua and the Dark Batman, the Batman who laughs, they have transformed the Earth into their own image, and so it's very dark and very bleak. It reminds me of the many fantasy maps from the various fantasy novels. So, and without getting to subplots and getting into depth, the story is basically about the fact that the good heroes who have remained, like Wonder Woman, Superman, who is being held a prisoner by an alternative dark Batman, who somehow became Batman slash Darkseid, and Batman, our mainstream Bruce Wayne Batman. Now we've got Jonah Hex as a zombie, and we've got Lobo being involved in the story, which is awesome, seeing Lobo drawn by Greg Capullo. And he works for Lex Luthor, who assigns Lobo to find boxes with death metal, so he can use them to turn things his own way. So it's, it already, you can see that it is quite complicated. But if you understand all these things, if you get acquainted with everything that is surrounded by all these things, the story is quite enjoyable. It is filled with references to the many crises and to the many events of the history of the DC Comics, because, and they do admit that all these crises happened or have happened, and of course, Perpetua, she wants to create another crisis so she can, as I said, transform the Earth into her own image. And as a response to that, Wonder Woman, as the leader of the resistance, wants to create a sort of anti-crisis to basically fix everything, right? So she wants to do that, and for this she needs the help of the other superheroes, such as Batman, Superman, Wally West, even Swamp Thing, who has become this sort of scorched twig, Lobo, all these characters and heroes that we all love and have loved for many years. But what is especially awesome about this series is the little things, the small things, and the references, as I said, to the previous crises and to the previous events, such as the fact that Batman, the main Batman, Bruce Wayne, is wearing the black ring from, the Blackest Night story, which is my own personal favorite DC Comics crossover / crisis. Because it was the event, it was the comic book, it was the story that brought me back into comics some 15 years ago, or 13, I don't know, whenever it came out. So that is good, especially in my eyes, because I love Blackest Night. So, and thanks to this black ring that Batman wears and wields on his finger, he can raise the dead from the grave and use the zombies to fight the para-Robins, which are basically para-demons, but they are Robins from the Dark Multiverse, right? So that's one of the awesome things there. Other than that, so this is what happened in the 3 main issues, and then the 2 one-shots, they deal with the origins of the different Dark Batman from the Dark Multiverse, such as the T-Rex Batman. The story was supposed to be written by Warren Ellis, but then some crazy freaking woman, idiotic woman, said that he did something wrong, which I don't think he did, because he didn't. Well, there are no proofs, but this video isn't about that. It was written by somebody else. So, and about other various Dark Batman, like the Batman who is the Gotham City itself, and Batman who is this, just Batmobile, and the Batmage, like this sort of wizard, and it's very awesome. And I'm looking forward to the series being finished, but what I'm especially looking forward to is for the series being finished and collected in a collected edition, because that's when I'm going to reread it and truly enjoy it, because, as I said, the complexity of Scott Snyder's writing can be best understood and enjoyed when read at once in a collected edition. Because when it comes out monthly, well, you just forget many things of this complicated story. So you either have to reread the already published stories, issues each and every month, or you have to make notes, or your memory has to be very good. So that's why I say that it is much easier and much better to read the things completed. So what do you think, my friends, about Dark Knight's Death Metal, the current Batman / Dark Knight miniseries written by Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo? Well, that will be all from me, my friends. Thank you for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and dislike this video if you like it, or if you don't like it, or like this video if you like it. And that will be all from me, my friends. See you soon, and bye.